Welcome to the Connect Your Health to Life coaching podcast. I'm your host, Seth Lusk. I'm a master certified life coach and published author with a decade-long background working in the health, wellness, and fitness industry as a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, and life coach. If you're anything like me or the clients that I work with, then you might be struggling with some confidence issues or struggling with feeling like you're not living your most fulfilling or authentic life. You may be trying to figure out why you have these amazing desires for what your most fulfilling life would look like, but you can't seem to create consistent action in your life to reflect those desires. So join me as we dive in deep on what it means to truly live a fulfilled and authentic life from the inside out. We're going to look from the perspective of an empowered mindset and uncover some of the reasons why you might be what's holding yourself back from living that most fulfilling life. But don't worry, this isn't about blame, guilt, or shame. This is about empowering you to see. I'm going to break through some of the biggest illusions and myths that we've all been taught to believe along the way. And I'm so excited to have you with me on this journey. So my only question for you is, are you ready to start living your most fulfilling life once and for all? Then let's get started, shall we? Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. For those of you listening in for the first time, welcome. You picked an interesting topic to join in on. I say that every week, but I mean it every week. That's why I say it. So this week, we're talking about something that I think is super fascinating. Something that took me a very long time to fully understand and put into practice in my own life. We're talking about the action of believing today. And you might be scratching your head a little bit thinking, because most of us, when we think about believing, we think about this being something that happens in our head and not being an action. So we're going to talk about that today. A little side note, I may sound a little bit funny today. Spring has started early here in Switzerland, and I have seasonal allergies and lost my voice 2 days ago, and it's coming back. But it sounds, I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone or not, but I sound like a chain smoker at this point in time, and my voice kind of just goes in and out. So I'm going to apologize for that a little bit ahead of time, that my voice sounds a little bit strange this week, but this topic is so important to talk about, so we're going to soldier forward and get this episode out there for you guys. So this week, the action of believing. You know, I like starting off my episodes with defining some words for you. So let's start off with defining the word believing. So believing is to accept and trust that something is true. And I want to add a little bit to this definition here, because the truth is, when we believe in something and we accept that something is true, I think one of the places where people kind of get a little bit confused here is that when we think it's true, we think it's true for everybody. And this is not true. So what I want to add to this definition is to accept and trust that something is true for you. And that's also very empowering and important for us in the way we're going to look at the definition or the action of believing today. So believing is to accept and trust that something is true for you. All right? So why are we talking about this? Well, I think the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because people confuse believing with thinking or considering. So what is the definition of thinking? Thinking is the process of considering or reasoning about something. Okay? So it's the process of considering or reasoning about something. When we talk about growth and when we talk about changing, I tell you all that when we want to change, we start with our beliefs. Okay? I say that all of the time. And I know that there is a whole group of people out there that they want to start with action. They want to start changing the behaviors. Most people want to start changing the behaviors because their goal is to hurry up and get away from where they are as fast as possible. And action, immediate action, appears on the surface to be the best way to do that. But I keep trying to tell you all over and over again, we start with looking at our beliefs first. We start with looking at beliefs. We start with creating and changing beliefs before we take action. And this is so very true. I've seen it over and over again in human history. When we change things at the behavioral level without addressing beliefs, then behavior patterns, they come back, and sometimes they come back in very sneaky ways. Sometimes they come back with a slightly different appearance, but the source of the behavior is coming from the same old beliefs, and therefore the outcomes that it will create stay the same in our lives. For instance, you can tell someone that they are not allowed to behave in certain overtly racist ways. And while this is helpful from the perspective of law or society or institutions to have these rules in place in order to create sort of an environment in which people can come together with unity and learn and fulfill a certain purpose, here's the issue with that. When the vast majority of society is still believing in concepts that create a very racist perspective in the world, then racism will just keep manifesting itself in different ways other than the behavior that the law says you cannot exhibit. And we see this all of the time in the world today. No matter how many laws, no matter how many rules we create to try and stop racist behavior, it just comes up in a new way until we individually look at our own beliefs and as a society look at our beliefs and change those so that we are behaving from a different set of beliefs. This is what I mean. And what I want to say here is that me and my husband actually had a talk about this week, about how when we're talking about from the perspective of institutions or, societies or governments, countries, states, things like this, coming at it from the behavioral perspective makes sense. We change rules to create behavior change because we want to be able to create action together. And so changing things at the behavioral level is the place where it starts. And then over time, as behaviors change, people start to look, as new generations come into the world and they're observing these new behaviors or these different behaviors from a very young age, they have differing beliefs growing up. And so this slowly starts to change beliefs on a societal level. But when it comes to personal change, this is not how it works. When it comes to personal change, we change our beliefs, and then we look at our thinking, we look at our beliefs, and we change our beliefs, and then we take different actions from those beliefs. But if we don't look at the beliefs, even if we take what look like different actions, the energy that it's riding on is the same, and therefore we end up creating the same results in a different way. Okay? So changing behaviors without looking at beliefs and changing beliefs, it does not serve us to create real changes that we are wanting to see. And I understand, like I said, when we're talking about in politics and we're talking about in institutions and society, that changing behaviors with rules, it's a bit different. This is where change starts when we're looking at it on that scale. Because we can't force people to believe something unless we want to live in a dictatorship. But most of the free world, the Western world, where we believe in democracy. And here's the thing, even in dictatorships, when we quote unquote force people to believe something, a lot of times they don't even really believe it. They just act like they're believing it in order to not get in trouble. So we don't want to force people to believe something. That is something that someone will want to choose on their own over time. That they'll choose this over time as their behaviors become less and less acceptable in society as rules change. But that is on the person, on a personal level, to do that. And this is where people like me, life coaches, come in, because we help people on an individual level to start changing at that thought and belief level. So yeah, when we are making changes for societal, legal, and political reasons, we're doing this to affect mass change quickly, to end something that is harmful that is happening in a country, or in an institution, or even worldwide, or in a city, or in a village. And sometimes the fastest way to make that change, rather than waiting around for individuals to change their beliefs, is to create rules that change behavior. If we waited around for beliefs of people to change before we ended slavery, then slavery would still exist today, because there are still some people in the world today that don't actually see a problem with things like slavery or the concepts of slavery. So we make laws that change behaviors so that we can have these changes, and then we hope that slowly beliefs start to change within people over time as certain behaviors become less and less acceptable. But we're also seeing how this is creating a massive point of suffering in humanity as we're now taking the same approach with our personal change within ourselves, and then wondering why we're not creating the changes that we want in life because we take the same outside to in approach. And it's the reason why, even though we have laws in place and things in our Constitution in the US that state that racism is illegal and that all men are created equal and treated equally in our country, it's why we still see acts of racism occurring, even though they're forbidden, and new ways of racism coming up. It's because beliefs still have not changed. And again, I want to say, on a societal level, creating the rules first, I think that's maybe the best approach. But what I'm here to offer is that when it comes to us on an individual level, wanting to create change, when it comes to our individual lives, when we want to change the way we look at and take care of our health, or if we're wanting to go after our goals, or we want to stop sabotaging ourselves when we do go after our goals, if we take the same outward behavior change without looking at beliefs, then what ends up happening is we feel out of control of being able to create these real sustainable changes in our lives. Because the same effect happens. We change the behavior, but the beliefs that supported the old behavior are still there. So we set these rules for ourselves in our lives about the behavior, but then we still see the old behaviors coming up or the same old results coming out of whatever new behaviors we take on. And this is because when we want to create individual change, it starts at the thought and the belief level. And when we don't do that, we begin to believe that we're just unable to change. And I see a world full of people that truly believe that they are unable to change. And I want to help you all begin to see through that illusion. Because the truth is, we are able to change. It's just that the same way that we have been taught to create change when we look out in society, when we look out in our communities, when we look at our governments, when we look at how our institutions create change, when we try and take that same approach for individual change in our own lives, it doesn't work. When we start with behavioral changes first, the changes will be temporary until the beliefs are looked at and taken into account. So this is why I say starting with beliefs is so important. Otherwise, the actions you are taking are just an attempt to escape the pain of the old beliefs. But the beliefs are still there, creating the pain in the background that will manifest in behavior again if they are not examined and accounted for. So, this brings me to the struggle that I see and want to talk about today. Some of you out there still want to resist this idea that changing beliefs is necessary for real and authentic change and for fulfilling change. Some of you still believe that you could start with your behaviors and that you're going to keep doing it over and over again and believe that somehow it's going to give you the results that you want. I'm not here to talk to you if that's what you want to believe. This isn't going to make sense for you if that's what you want to believe. I'm here to talk to the people that are curious about understanding how looking at our beliefs and thoughts first is what's going to empower us to start creating that real change that we feel is so elusive to us as humans. I'm here to talk to the people that are ready to be done with that same approach of changing from the outward in and want to start looking at how do I change from the inside out so that the changes that I'm making last. They're fulfilling, they're what I want to do with my life, and they're sustainable. And for those of you out there interested in this, changing your beliefs is going to be key. But here is where I see people getting stuck. It brings up this question of why. Why is changing beliefs not working for so many people? Even for people who recognize that they want to change their beliefs. They want to consider the idea that changing beliefs is what's going to help them start living their most empowered life. And the reason why this is such a struggle for so many people is because we have a huge misunderstanding of what it means and what it takes to believe in something. And it's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself here because I'm telling you we have to look at our thoughts and beliefs first. We need to look there first if we want to create real change. If we start with behaviors, if we start with changing the actions, it's not going to work for you. That's what I'm saying to you. But we have a huge misunderstanding when it comes to what it takes to believe in something. And what it takes to believe in something is action. And some of you are like, what, Seth, you've lost your mind. So, okay, the focus of the work that I'm doing with my clients is about their thinking and believing. I find that for many people, the difference between these two isn't so clear. They often get them confused. Or they believe that their thinking is what is going to make them change their behavior. And while our thinking plays a huge role in our emotions, and therefore how we will choose to take action at any given time, the action we choose is based in believing. The emotions we feel can come from thinking and from beliefs, but the actions we take are based in what we believe. Okay? I need that to be very clear for you all here. And this is the main difference between thinking and believing. It is action. I want you to think about something that you believe in. I mean something that you truly believe in with all of your body, mind, and heart. Most of us believe in the concept of money. Many people believe in the concept of working to make that money. People that believe in these things spend a lot of their life doing things that they call work to earn more of this thing that's called money because they believe that having more of it will be beneficial for them. There are people who believe in the concept of flying, that they get in airplanes and they go all around the world because they believe in the ability to fly. There are some people who think that flying is a thing that could happen and they have some doubts surrounding it or its safety. And these people may never get on a plane because they don't believe that flying is 100% safe, that it's something that they want to do. You believe in your ability to walk. And this is why right now, if I told you go in your kitchen and get a glass of water, you wouldn't sit there and think for 5 minutes of, ooh, I don't know. Will I make it to the kitchen? Will my legs get me? Will I be able to walk that far? No, you just get up from your chair or wherever you're sitting and you walk to your kitchen and you get a glass of water. Most of you believe in your ability to pour yourself a glass of water. You don't sit there with the cup in your hand looking at the faucet of your sink and wonder, oh, am I going to be able to do this? No, you believe in your ability to do it. So you know what you do? When I say, hey, go to your kitchen and pour yourself a glass of water, you get up off of your chair, you walk to your kitchen, you grab a glass, you put it under the faucet, you turn it on, and you pour yourself a glass of water because you believe in your ability to do so. You believe you can do it. You believe in getting a glass of water from your faucet in your kitchen. This ability to walk, this is one that's so powerful to look at. You believe in your ability to walk. That is why when you were a kid, you were willing to fall down over and over and over to learn to walk. And why you get up and walk regularly in your life now. This is such a massive example of the difference between thinking versus believing. You as an adult right now believe in your abilities to do certain things in your life, such as walking. Maybe also driving is a skill of yours that you believe in, because you believe in these skills and you do them regularly. At one point in time, you did not have these skills. As a baby, you didn't just come out of the womb and the doctor set you on the ground and you started walking. This was a skill that you practiced and learned to be able to do. At some point in time, walking was something you observed other people doing and thought and considered you might be able to do it as well. Remember that thinking is the process of considering or reasoning about something. At one point, you considered as a baby that since so many other people around you walked, that you would maybe be able to do the same thing. So you got up and you fell. At this point, you still believed it was possible for you to walk though. So you got up to walk again and you fell. And you did this hundreds of times until you figured it out. And started slowly taking step by step by step until walking became something quite regular for you. Fast forward to you now as an adult. If someone asked you about your belief in your ability to walk, the answer is obvious to you. And I know some of you out there don't have use of your legs or might not have your legs, so you can choose another activity. Maybe you believe in your ability to steer your wheelchair, or your ability to get around in some other way, using crutches, using artificial legs. So I know that walking doesn't encompass all of humanity, but I use this as an example because it is a belief for so many people. And anyone who's not able to walk or has loss of function from your legs, like I said, choose another action that you take on a regular basis. Do you believe that you can get to the bathroom in the morning using your wheelchair or however it is that you get to the bathroom? Did you learn how to do that? And you know now, if you wake up in the morning and need to get to your bathroom, you can do that. You don't sit around and think about, oh, I don't know if I'll make it. You know you can do it. So going back to walking, now as an adult, you take action consistently to walk without even considering it really. You just do it because it is true for you that you can walk. You trust in the truth for you of that. And here's the thing, if you got in a car accident like tomorrow and somehow it broke your legs or did something to your back and you lost function of your legs, the moment that you're conscious and you recognize you want to move from where you are right now, you're going to go about taking the action to walk. Because you don't believe yet that you're not able to walk, that that's even a possibility for you yet. You still believe that you can walk. And for so many people who lose the function of their legs permanently, this takes time for them to accept and believe that they no longer walk and that they will find another way to get around. It's a source of a lot of emotional pain for some people, and they resist the truth of it, that their legs don't function as they used to. Many go to coaches or therapists and work through this sort of crisis of belief to peacefully move into acceptance of what is true for them now and how to believe that with peace. So what does this have to do with us today and with the work that I do as a coach? I work with so many clients on uncovering their belief systems that are keeping them in cycles of behavior that they don't want to be in anymore. The behavior is a cycle that they don't want to exhibit anymore. And I help them understand their power in having created those belief systems that are creating those behavior cycles that they are in right now. And helping them understand their power in being able to create new belief systems now with intention. Many of them can see this. I see many people in the personal development space that can see the truth of this. They can see how their beliefs are keeping them in behavior cycles that are not serving them, and they want out. So after they've taken the time to fully understand that thinking and believing is what got them to where they are, so that they understand why they created those beliefs to begin with, and this way they know how to not repeat the creation of them in the future, then we move into looking at new ways of thinking in the world and this idea of creating new beliefs. And right here is where I see so many people feeling frustrated, or they begin to disempower themselves in their internal language or their external language. And they'll start saying things to themselves like maybe they're just not capable of change. Or they'll keep trying to go about changing. And I'll assign them an action to take that would move them closer to the life that they're saying that they want to be living. And I'll get responses like, I don't know how yet though. Or, okay, I'll try. Or, I need to think about it. Or, I'll try and see what happens. They're stuck in this thinking and considering. It's a place where I see so many people in the self-development and personal growth realm getting stuck, is this thinking and considering process. Them wanting to believe something, but they don't get it. Like, why am I not believing it yet? Why don't I believe it yet? Or they think they believe it, but they're not taking action. They'll be like, yeah, I believe it. I believe and I can do this. I believe. And I'll sit there and look at them. Oh, so what are you doing? Oh, I don't know yet. And then I'll just say to them, okay, well then I don't believe you yet. I believe in you. I don't believe you because you're not taking the action. People get stuck in this thinking and considering. They get stuck in what I call the new belief trap. And getting out of this trap requires two things. Well, actually, it's really one thing. Courage. Courage is taking action when fear is present. Why is courage key here? I want you to go back to the story of being a baby and learning to walk. Every time you stood up as a baby to walk, you didn't know that you could actually walk yet. You had no evidence yet that you are a walker. You had not yet walked. There was fear there. Would you fall down again? Would it hurt? Would you ever learn? Would you be humiliated? So many things could have been going on in your brain that your brain was creating fear around. However, for the brain at that age, the advantage of walking outweighed the possibility of these fears. So you practiced courage and you took action when the fear was present because the reward of being able to walk was worth the possible consequence of following. Courage is what we use when we take action when fear is present. I've talked about this with you all for many times. So many times. When we're creating a new belief, the same thing happens. We have fear surrounding the new actions that we will be taking because we don't have the evidence for ourselves yet that we've done it, that we don't have the actions to back up the belief yet. We don't have the evidence. So we create it through courage because courage is about taking action. And I think for a lot of people, and this is why we look at thoughts and beliefs first, it's also because they don't see the true reward for them, how it's unique for them, how it's going to be what's getting them closer to the unique life that they want to be living, the fulfilling life that they want to be living. They don't see the full reward, so their brain just convinces them it's not worth it. So this is another reason why we want to look at thoughts and beliefs first. So this new belief trap, this is when we're wanting to form a new belief. We think about the possibility of it. We sit and we think and we think and we think and we wait for the thinking to make us take action. Or we wait for the thinking to make the idea of taking action feel comfortable for us. It's like we believe that if we think about it long enough, we'll create enough evidence for ourselves that it will feel comfortable to take the new action. My friends, this is not going to happen for you. It's not going to happen for you. The beliefs that you have now that are causing you to take the actions that you're currently taking formed over years of you taking actions to create evidence of the truth of the belief that you formed. Just like with walking. So many things that as a kid, you were told to believe, you saw the benefit of believing it, and you were like, okay, I'm just going to do this, and it'll make sense later. And as adults, now we have the opportunity to do this with intention instead of being told what we're going to believe and then going out and taking the actions to make those beliefs solid for us. Now we get to pick, what is it that I want to believe? What is the life that I want to create? What is it that I want to believe is possible for me? Not what they are telling me is possible for me and therefore what I should believe, and then therefore the actions that I will take to make myself believe those things so that then I can, no, now we get the opportunity to do it with intention. But we've forgotten about the process that we went through as children to create the current beliefs that we have now, which was to take action when there was no evidence yet. When there was fear present, to be courageous. This means that taking action is the formula for belief. And I know you're going to sit there and think, but wait, you're telling me not to take action first. You're telling me to look at the beliefs first. And yes, I am. We need to understand our current beliefs and thinking first before we start taking the action. Otherwise, again, we're just going to be taking action to recreate the old beliefs. But the moment that we understand the old beliefs and thoughts, and we understand the life that we truly want, not based on what we should quote unquote want or what we've been told to want, we get to decide for ourselves what we truly want in our lives. And when we have that image clear, and we have the picture clear of why it is that we've created the life that we are currently in, and why we don't want to believe those things anymore, then we have the opportunity to create the new beliefs. And the formula for the new belief is action. And I know some of you will be thinking, but wait, don't we take action because we believe? And the answer is yes. It's really interesting. We take action because we believe. But guess what? Action is also what created the belief. We take action because we believe. And we believe because we take action. Mind-blowing, right? It's a little bit like, what? Like wrapping your head around. It took me so long to wrap my head around this, my friends. It took me so long to wrap my head around this. And I sat in this indecisive space of thinking about the things that I wanted to believe. Thinking about the life that I wanted, but not taking the actions. I was sitting around and waiting on my thinking to make the actions of how I was going to do it clear for me, so that then it would feel comfortable to step forward into that action. But that's not how it works. We have the belief of possibility and the belief of ability. The belief of possibility comes from consideration that something is possible for you. And when you choose to make that consideration a belief, you solidify it by taking an action that would go about proving that possibility will be an ability for you in the future. And the more you take the action out of that belief in possibility, the stronger you cement that belief in ability. We act regularly in our beliefs of ability, but with new beliefs, they're still in this sort of possibility phase. And what so many people are out there doing is believing in the possibility of it, but they don't believe in the possibility of it for them. Otherwise, they would be taking the action to cement that belief of the possibility for them into belief of ability. So we're in this phase of potential truth. We don't have that evidence for it yet. We don't have the skills necessary for it yet. Sometimes people have the skills and refuse to see them and just don't take action with them. But typically speaking, usually with new beliefs, we have skills that we will be wanting to build in order to transition into this new belief from possibility to ability. And my friends, courage is what helps us move from possibility to ability. But remember what courage is. Courage is taking action when fear is present. That fear of what ifs, that fear of worrying. What if I don't do it right? What if I fall down? Will I never be a walker? I talk about this sometimes. I think it's kind of funny to look at. As adults, we watch babies learn to walk. We watch them stand up and grab a hold of things and go to take a step and fall. And we watch them do it over and over again. And I don't hear adults sitting around and watching a baby grab a hold of the coffee table, pull itself up, going to take a step forward and falling. And I don't hear all the adults going, oh, well, that one's not going to be a walker. Look, they just tried to walk and they fell. Guess they're never going to walk because they haven't done it yet. But how often do we do this with ourselves? We do this with ourselves because we don't choose to have courage. We don't choose to practice courage. Which is seeing, yeah, sure, I'm going to step forward here and I'm going to faceplant. I'm going to look like a total idiot. And then I'm going to laugh about it. I'm going to learn from it. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it again. Because I see that what happens on the other side of this action is what I want. I believe in that future there. And I believe that taking this action, learning these skills is going to be what launches me into that future. And I'm going to learn how as I go. But we're not willing to do that. Instead, we're that baby that pulls itself up on the coffee table, takes a step forward and falls. And then we just lay there on the ground and be like, well, I tried. It didn't work. So I guess I'm not a walker. What if every baby did that? Do you know how few babies would be walking? None. None of the babies would be walking. I have yet to meet a baby who has learned how to walk the first time it pulled itself up on a coffee table. If anyone has seen this happen, please share it with me. I'd love to see it. But I have yet to see a baby stand up on its own for the first time to try to walk and succeed at walking. They fall so many times. And my friends, as you go to step into that new fulfilling life of yours that you see, that you've been telling yourself subconsciously or even consciously isn't possible for you. When you choose to want to believe that is possible for me, I'm going to stop believing all this crap that these other people are telling me, and I get to choose what is possible for me, and I will take the actions necessary to prove it possible, prove my ability to me. When you decide that, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be pulling yourself up on that metaphorical coffee table and taking a step and falling and then practicing courage to get yourself back up and do it again and fall. You will practice that courage of taking action and choosing to look for the evidence that what you currently believe does not have to be true for you. And my friends, this is full of uncertainty and fear for the brain. So yes, it's going to kick back. It's going to fight you. That's part of the process. This is part of the beautiful journey of growth. Yes, your brain is going to throw a temper tantrum. So the question is, are you going to lay on the floor and never learn to walk? Just because your brain is throwing a temper tantrum? Your brain threw temper tantrums when you were a baby too. About all of the uncertainty of walking. But we saw the benefit of it. We saw the benefit of what was on the other side of learning to walk. And when you've got that laser focus of seeing, and this is one of the things that I help my clients with, when you've got that laser focus of seeing what's on the other side of this metaphorical learning to walk, you learning to take the actions to build that life that you've been doubting is possible for you. When you choose to do that, when you see that, then you will be telling your brain to step up and look for evidence of the fact that this is possible. Through getting up and doing and falling, doing and falling. Stop telling yourself that you're trying. You're not trying, you're doing. You are doing and you are learning. Trying is you giving yourself an out. Trying is undermining your belief. Trying is you telling yourself that you don't believe yet. Stop doing that to yourself. Practice courage. Get up and take the action. The key here is, my friends, belief requires action. Without action, you have consideration and thinking. You don't have belief. If you're not taking action, then you are not actively believing. Because remember the definition of believing. The definition of believing is to accept and trust that something is true for you. And there's another part to this definition. I didn't mention it earlier, but I want to bring it up now. Many people use this part of the definition that practice a religion, and they use this part of the definition to refer to things like God or heaven or angels. The part of the definition that I'm talking about is that it also says at the end of this definition, especially in things unseen. When we believe in something new, and we have not yet taken the action to manifest the results in our life, the result is unseen. But believing would mean to accept and trust that it is true. Those results are true. You haven't created them yet, but you believe that they are true. They are true results, and you are the person that creates them. You just haven't yet. It's an interesting thing to consider this, right? I mean, think about that. I see so many people getting stuck here, saying that they believe in something that they will accomplish, and then they don't take actions. They don't take new actions to create the result. They sit and think about it and say they believe in it. But when we believe in something and those results that we haven't manifested them in our life yet, when we believe I am the person that creates those results, how did I do it? We step up and we take action to learn that how. And I hear so many people getting stuck here and saying, but I don't know how. I'm not taking the action because I don't know how yet. Of course you don't know how. You haven't done it yet. You do not learn the how by not doing it. You didn't learn how to walk by just sitting there and thinking about it. You learned your how to walk by getting up and falling and getting up and falling until you figured out the unique way to make your legs work for you to do that action of walking. Of course you don't know how yet. Stop sitting around and waiting on someone to tell you how. Take the action. Learn your how. That is where you find your how. You don't find your how and then take the action. You find your how by taking the action. And falling on your face 1,000 times in the process. That is learning, my friends. And again, this is because we as a society teach ourselves to believe that not getting the result the first time is failure. No, that's learning. That's learning. That is learning the how right there. We've got to stop associating not getting the results we want the first time with failure. Not getting the results the first time is how we learn our unique how. And you're going to fall down 1,000 times to figure out how you specifically walk. Most of us don't remember the process of learning to walk, but we know that we fell down 1,000,000 times doing it. But here's the thing, if we could remember, I guarantee you all of us would describe that feeling of when we first started trying to move our legs to walk so completely differently. All of us had a different process of doing it. How we got our brains to innervate the muscles in our legs to walk and fall down 1,000,000 times before we learned, okay, this is how I make my legs walk. If you had just sat there as a baby and said, I believe in the possibility of walking, or I'm thinking about the possibility of walking, but I don't know how, so you never got up and took the first step and fell, then guess what? You wouldn't be doing it today. You wouldn't be walking today. And you wouldn't have your belief and your ability to walk today. And this is what I see happening for so many adults. Saying that they believe that something is possible for them, and then sitting and waiting around for it to happen for them, for the how to reveal themselves to them before they take action. They're so scared to take action and not get the result that they want that they just wait around for the how to reveal themselves, to reveal itself to them. And what I'm here to say is stop it. The how to is what you learn by taking the action. The belief you create by taking the action. What you believe now, you believe because you took action and solidified that belief. When we are creating new beliefs, we take new behaviors into account. We take new actions. And we won't know how we're going to get the results we want through taking those actions until we take the action. We see the result we get, and we decide, okay, I'll do this differently the next time. We take the action, we get the result, we see, is that the result I wanted? No? Okay, so what do I change this time? This is how we do it. The same way you learn to walk, my friends. The same way you now believe in your ability to walk. Believing, just like courage, is not something that we passively receive from something outside of us. Believing is something that we actively choose to do by actively taking action. Belief is an active process, my friends. So this raises two questions that I want to answer for you today. The first question is believing necessary to create the results we want in our life? And I say yes. If the result you want is to make $1 million, you could win the lottery. But to do so, you would need to believe in your ability to buy a lottery ticket and then to fill out the lottery ticket and in a way that you could win. So you would have to still take the action of going and playing the lottery. Even though, guess what? There's no evidence you're going to win yet. You haven't won the lottery yet. You could also go about learning how to create $1 million through something like selling a product, selling a service, creating a product or service. And then you'd be able to repeat it again and again instead of just waiting on guessing the right lucky numbers to win $1 million through the lottery. But either way, here's the thing. You take action when you believe that you can do it and that you want to do it. So belief, my friends, is completely necessary for the process of creating change in our life. You can't do it without belief. The things you're doing currently in your life are happening because of what you believe. So if you want different results, you have to believe differently. And we believe differently by choosing what we want to believe and then taking the action necessary to believe it. And I know that sounds so foreign for you, but this is how it works. Which raises the next question. How do we use this to create those beliefs in our lives so that we can start showing up in our lives and creating the things that we're wanting to create? And I'm just going to tell you, it's something your brain isn't going to love hearing, because the answer is courageous action. This is the key to creating new belief. And to create change in your life, you will want to create new belief. The act of believing requires action. Action will always flow from true belief. You want to know what you believe in this life? Look at the actions you take, because they will always directly reflect back to you what you believe. If you don't like those actions, if you don't like the results that they're creating, change the beliefs. But first you have to understand the beliefs that you have. I want to preface that clearly first. But we'll want to change the beliefs. We'll want to believe differently in order to create differently. So it is a new belief that you're looking to create, because your old belief was creating results that you no longer want in your life. So the actions that you will be taking for the new belief are going to be new and uncertain. They will feel uncomfortable. They will feel clumsy. They will feel confusing. You won't know the how yet. You will learn it through taking action. You will believe it through taking action. So when we want to create changes in our lives, yes, it is necessary to look at our beliefs and our thoughts. That is so important. It is necessary to understand what we want to believe differently so that we can create differently. That is necessary. If we take action without this, it puts us in the position where we are bound to repeat creating the same cycles just in different ways, no matter how many times you try changing the actions. And this is because belief is what determines the intention of the actions. And this directly influences the outcome over time. And sure, when it's a new belief, you will fall down over and over. But you will see yourself getting closer and closer to figuring out your unique how of creating the result you're looking for. And if you're not, then it's time to go back to the belief and the thoughts and find out what is keeping you in the cycle of creating the same thing over and over again without seeing growth towards the results you want. But here's the thing. Actions being changed without changing the beliefs is useless to creating an intentional and fulfilling life that you're wanting. But also, beliefs being changed without taking action is completely useless in creating an intentional and fulfilling life that you want. If you think that you have a belief and you're not taking action, you don't have a belief. You have consideration. You have thinking. You have contemplation. These are not what's going to get you to where you want to be going. Believing will. When you believe in something and believe in it hard, you take action based on that belief. So what do we do with this? What do we do with this new awareness of creating actionable change surrounding the knowledge that when we believe, we act? The truth is, you start with action. And I know some of you are thinking, but how? Or, I don't know how. Or, that just isn't possible because I've never been able to do it before. To which I would say, you didn't walk before you did. Did that mean that before you walked that it wasn't possible for you to walk? You didn't learn to speak until you did. So yeah, you haven't done it yet. And yeah, of course you don't know how yet. That is why you are taking the action and learning as you actively believe hard in yourself and your ability to do what is necessary to go after that fulfilling and authentic life. The way that you're going to do this is going to vary greatly from person to person. So this is why I always recommend working with a coach on this. I want you all to understand that very clearly. These podcast episodes, they are to create awareness and to get you into that way of thinking to which this is something that you want to do. But these are not a how-to guide. Your how-to guide is something you're going to learn by taking the action. And this is why I say work with a coach. Work with a coach who's going to help you step into your authentic and empowered way of learning your how, without you constantly setting yourself back and putting yourself backwards because of your doubt and because of your lack of believing hard in yourself. But I want to leave you with something that you can begin to practice today if you find yourself wanting to believe something new, but you're not taking action on it. Something that you can begin to use to start creating more awareness around the actions that you would want to be taking. Instead of saying things like, oh, I'll try, or I need to figure out how first before I do it. Here's what I want you to begin to practice. First, I want you to ask yourself, what new belief is it that you are wanting to believe that is going to help you in creating the life you want? Maybe it is a belief in you mastering a new skill. Maybe it's a belief in you being worthy of going after something. Maybe it's a belief in the importance of what it is that you want. Whatever it is, when you catch yourself at the precipice of action and wanting to fall back on the old habit or that old urge or the old behavior, when you find yourself at that precipice of action and then you find yourself not wanting to take it, I want you to bring up that new belief and ask yourself, someone who believes this, someone who truly believes this, what would they be thinking and doing in this exact situation right now? So for example, maybe it's the belief that you can process your emotion instead of eating to numb it away. That's one that many of my clients struggle with. So someone who truly believes that, they're facing the emotion that you're facing right now, and it feels hard for them. What would they be doing in that moment that is different than what you usually do? How would this change the results that they get from what you're getting? How would those results that they would be getting by doing things differently, how would those results produce results that you want to see in your own life, getting you closer to the life that you want? I want you to answer those questions for yourself. So you're on this precipice of, you've got the old belief right there urging you to do the old behavior. You see the new belief you want. And it's so easy to just fall back on that old behavior and be like, oh, I don't know how to yet. Oh my God, it's so scary. What's going to happen? Well, oh, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fail. And so you fall back on that old belief. I want you to pause at that moment and I want you to ask yourself, someone who truly believed this new belief, what would they be doing in this situation? If they really believed this, what would they be doing differently than what I'm about to do if I fall back on this old urge? Answer those questions for yourself. Remind yourself that you are that person. You are that person that takes the different action. You are that person that takes the action on the new belief. And that right now is the time that you learn how by taking that courageous step forward into the fear. You taking this step forward is you uncovering that person from the illusion of the old belief and behavior that you had them buried under. You are that person that you imagined in your head that would do things differently because they believed differently. You are that person. They're just buried under a layer of old beliefs and behaviors. So you taking this step forward with courage into the fear of the not knowing the how, but you're going to figure it out as you go, that is you uncovering that person. Okay? You are that person, and I need you to remind yourself of that. And when you take this new action and you fall, which you will, and you do it again the next time, and you do it again the next time, every time you do this, you begin to collect evidence in the new belief. You begin to uncover more of you, the true you, not the person buried under the old beliefs of the old behaviors. When you take these steps forward, you begin collecting evidence in your new belief and in your ability to do differently. And this time, even though it's filled with the same uncertainty as it was before, it's also full of empowerment and fulfillment as you keep choosing to step forward every time the old belief comes up and urges you to follow it. And you remind yourself of who you are by looking at that new belief, remembering the person that believed in this, what would they be doing right now? What things would they be doing differently? And then do that thing. Remind yourself of who you are and what you want to believe, and you take the action to prove it to be true to yourself. This is how we create belief. We don't will it or think it into existence. We act it into existence. We act belief into existence, my friends. So if you're not taking action, while I believe in you, I don't believe you that you believe in you. When you believe in you, you take action. Yeah, you don't know how. That's okay. You're going to learn that. Belief is action. Action is belief, my friends. When someone tells me that they believe in themselves and their dreams, and I ask them to show me what they're doing right now to create them, I can always tell if someone is choosing to believe or not. Are they just in that consideration and thinking phase, or are they believing in themselves and their dreams? And I can always tell by what actions they're willing to take. You first have to know what you've been believing. Then know what it is that you want in this life. Truly, what you want. Not what you think you should want and what everyone else wants for you, but what you want and why. And then know how what you've been believing is creating what's in your life right now, and how it's not creating what it is that you want in your life. Then know what would you be believing if you were creating the things in your life that you wanted. And then you take the action to create that belief. You take the action to create those things in your life and learn your how to cement that belief for you as being true for you. Not just some vague possibility for someone out there, but a true possibility for you, a true ability for you. Belief is trust in the truth of something. It's not a contemplation of it, or a wondering if, or a waiting for the how. It is trusting in the truth of something. So if your dream was true, if you believed that, what actions would you be taking differently today to uncover that in the world around you? You start where you truly are, because remember, you're not in a rush to get away from where you are. That doesn't take you where you want to go. Start where you truly are, and you start there by knowing the current thoughts and beliefs. Find the starting point on the map to plug in the new address in the GPS, and then start taking action to create your direction towards it. Start exactly where you are in your journey. Be present there and take the step. Take the step that someone who believed that your dream was true would be taking today. What is that step that you want to be taking today that you keep doubting yourself into not taking? Take it. My friend, when you're wanting to take your power back and own your life and start showing up as an unstoppable force of creation within it. Believing and believing hard is your most powerful tool of creation, and we create that through courageous action. I'm not here to say that it feels good or comfortable when we do this. Of course it doesn't. Our brain is biologically wired to avoid uncertainty, so of course this doesn't feel comfortable. But I'm here to tell you that this is your path forward to the life that you have not yet been truly believing you could create for yourself. This is your path forward, leaning into that discomfort. We talked about this over the last 3 weeks, how important it is to be able to process emotional pain. Growth is going to be full of emotional pain. But here's the thing, even if you avoid the growth, your life is still full of emotional pain. You're not avoiding the emotional pain. So the question is, are you going to choose the emotional pain that pulls you forward into that life? Or are you going to sit in this disempowered state of victimhood to emotional pain and still not have the life that it is that you know you're designed for? So my friends, believe and believe hard. This is your most powerful tool in creating that life. I'm here to show you how to take this skill that we talked about today and apply it to your unique journey in life. That's what I'm here for, my friends. To help you show up unstoppably in your life and uncover your how. So if that's something you want to do, just reach out. My contact information is in the show notes. If you want a coach to stand by you and guide you through your authentic process of believing in yourself so hard that you cannot help but to create the results that you want in your life. If you want that, book your free discovery call with me. You can do it through my website. That discovery call there is to find out more about how my coaching could help you here. Entirely free, obligation free. It is there to help you see how my coaching could help you step forward. To start taking those steps and believing in yourself. All right? I love you all so much, my friends. There's so much more we could talk about when it comes to believing, but I hope this brought some clarity to you today. You cannot just sit and think yourself into believing. You can't just take action without looking at the belief and knowing what you want to believe. So it's neither taking action or believing. Action is believing. Believing is action. We start with understanding the beliefs. We start with knowing what we want to believe, and then we take the action to create the belief, to create the life that you were designed to live, my friends. I love you all. I'm going to leave this here. I want you to go out there for the rest of this week and into next week, and I want you to believe hard with tons of action, tons of uncomfortable, uncertain, I don't know how action. Go out there and do it, and learn your how. And I will talk with you again here next week. Ciao. Hey, thank you for listening in this week. I hope you enjoyed the content of this episode. If you did, please subscribe or follow this podcast to receive the newest episodes every week as I bring them to you here on the Connect Your Health to Life coaching channel. Ratings, reviews, and comments are always appreciated. These allow me to know more of what my listeners would like in the podcast and allow for more people who may be searching for a podcast just like this one to find the Connect Your Health to Life coaching channel. If you would like more information about me and the work that I do with my clients one-on-one, then please visit my website at www.slch.ch. Again, that is www.slch.ch. You can also find me on social media on Instagram at SethLusk_coaching. Again, that is SethLusk_coaching. And on Facebook in my free Facebook group community called A Healthy Life Connection. We would love to have you in the group, and it's only 3 membership questions that you have to answer to join. And again, it's entirely free. And if you need any further information or just want to say hello, feel free to send me an email directly at slusk.health@slch.ch. Again, that is slusk.health@slch.ch. Thank you again so much for listening, and I look forward to our next time together. Ciao.